Hey all, and welcome back to Knuckles' story in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. I've missed Carnival Night Zone, especially the music. I'm assuming we're not playing the Origins version of the game here, Flame.
No, this was one of these songs that had to be replaced in Origins, which I saw coming. It was obvious that the Michael Jackson songs weren't going to get carried over. The Jackson estate are kind of difficult to work with, and they had to replace it, but it's still a little bit disappointing. This one, it's not the best of the Michael Jackson, allegedly, except basically confirmed. We don't have all day for that argument. But, because it is basically just the entry of the Gladiators mashed up with jam. Some of the other songs that, especially the next level, were much more interesting in my eyes, and they were a much bigger loss in Origins. But yeah, there is, someone has put out a mod, as far as I recall, to change all the music, which was the obvious thing that was going to happen when Origins came out.
Oh yeah, of course.
Will say, as someone who wasn't a fan of Carnival Night the stage in Sonic's story, it's so much better in Knuckles because you can just speed through everything. You can take the Knuckles shortcut route.
We can get straight to the meat of this level, the penis spot, and what everyone remembers most about Carnival Night.
Didn't you scold Gareth for saying that in the last LP?
In many, many ways, I am a filthy hypocrite, what can I say?
He's grown up and you've grown down.
Oh. I'm not saying one way or the other, you can draw your own conclusions. Let the flag fall, let the signpost rest, Flame.
But it's so much fun juggling it, and it took a lot of restraint not to have a 2-minute section here shaking it. I hope you realise that.
I know, it's just a little bit moreish. Any new tricks we can expect in Act 2 here? Because obviously, Knuckles isn't going to start playing pranks on himself. That would just be a little bit weird.
No, Knuckles can just avoid all the bullshit. We don't have any of the water section that we had to deal with as Sonic. We can just sort of take the lower route here, get boosted along by a lot of it. We'll be in a better level before you know it.
Hey!
I will say, in terms of carnival levels and whatnot, Carnival Night does rank up there for me. For the life of me, I could not begin to rank them for you unless I took a quick shufty over at Sonic Retro's levels page. But yeah, definitely a top 3 carnival level.
Well, it might be a carnival level, but in practice it's the spiritual successor to Casino Night, which I think had the more appealing colour scheme. The red against the black is a little bit loud for my liking, personally.
Agreed.
Wow.
Yeah, this you also don't have to fight that really obnoxious boss that Sonic does, which, again, another reason why this is a better level as Knuckles.
Alright, we out this bitch. Huh. I don't recall that being there.
No, get fired up to Ice Cap now. Some of the level transitions are a little bit more natural than others. I know that, I think all of the other classic Sonic games, at least for Sonic 1, I know definitely, the levels did sort of get shifted around, during development, and especially for this game, given, the whole thing about it being released as 2 games in 2 chunks. There were certain levels from Sonic and Knuckles, the Sonic and Knuckles half, that were meant to be here. I think Flying Battery was meant to be in this slot.
Yeah, that's because why at the end of the level the door shoots off. That was meant to be what you're using to snowboard down at the start of Sonic's route.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. But yes, here is the Knuckles exclusive route in Ice Cap. Not my favourite of them, if only because the gliding sections tend to be much slower than the just punching through rock sections.
Oh, Flame, you are an animal of the most basest nature, but I agree, punching things is fun.
Punching things and going fast is very fun, so you know why I like that.
And I suppose it's that whole thing, and it's the most common complaint that the Sonic franchise has ever had over its many, many years of people didn't like it when things started to go too slow. And yeah, that gliding section was just that little bit of just it just feels like you've just interrupted my pace. It's alright to sort of have a slower section, but they need to come at the right moments and they need to flow between sort of the more high speed sections. Otherwise you just get that moment of just going, I just feel like you've just interrupted me in the middle of having fun to make me go slow, and that's where the frustration comes in.
I don't know if I go that far. It was tailored to Knuckles' gameplay. I will play the Echidna's advocate here. We get this lovely little, like, crystal cave section at the end here, not to be confused with the level of the same name in Sonic and the Black Knight.
To be fair, like, they've created this new character for the game who has his own moveset and he plays differently to Sonic. So, for the shorter sections like that, you know, like, they're clearly doing it to show off what Knuckles can do and to encourage you to use it. Whether I appreciate that as much on a replay, that's a different story, but it is that kind of thing of they're teaching you how to use him by integrating his skills into the level design. So,
yeah,
even if you don't like it being there on your second playthrough, on your first playthrough, it's kind of a necessary tool to show him off. So I get that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that I personally feel that. I do think that it is sort of a smart way of making use of it. It's just I think that might be sort of part of the belief, and obviously it does tie into that common complaint that gets levelled at Sonic far too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, when it comes to gameplay, like, I'm not talking about the people who are just saying this for attention and shit, but like for the actual criticisms of Sonic's friend characters, a lot of the gameplay criticism came about from Adventure On when the characters had radically different gameplay styles.
Yes.
Because it's one thing to have like another character who still has typical platforming levels, but like, you know, they change out one or two skills.
Yeah, so Tails, basically.
Yeah, like Tails and how Knuckles is here, you know, they change it a little bit, but it's still a very similar kind of gameplay.
Yes.
To where they went and drastically changed things in Adventure to like where Knuckles, you know, like he has this skill set, but they're not really using it for speed or for platforming. They're using it for him to fly around and look for items and making it more of a collectathon kind of thing. And that's not really, like, there's not as much crossover between what people want Sonic for versus people who want that kind of gameplay. So, like, even if it's not necessarily bad, like, the treasure levels in Sonic Adventure are harmless in the grand scheme of things. But I feel like a lot of people, especially at the time when they didn't really know what they were in for, would probably, like, play through Sonic Story, really enjoy Sonic Story, and be ready to do, like, a Knuckles version of that, and then be slowed down.
Yeah.
And that kind of rubs people a complete different way to, you know, what we have in this game.
Kudos to you for sticking to the Knuckles comparison and not just going straight to Big, because I was waiting. Like, I can feel it on the breeze.
Yeah.
See, the difference there is that Knuckles has a full campaign like that, whereas Big is, like, his mission, once you know what you're doing, his campaign takes, like, 25 minutes. So, like, if you're still hung up about that, get over it.
Let me tell you the secret trick. You press down when Froggy bites the law. That's it. That's all you have to do.
And the other trick is don't get distracted by stuff, because if you enjoy the fishing gameplay and you want to rack up score, there is a lot of opportunity to do that. Like, there's a lot of alternate sections you can go to outside of where Froggy is, and it is actually pretty well fleshed out, like, all things considered. But if you're just playing the story and you want to move on to Gamma and Supersonic, then, you know, just find where Froggy is, it's usually obvious, and just catch him and you're done.
Yeah. This is cool, actually, an abandoned launch base zone. Pretty much all of Robotnik's plans have gone up in smoke right now, but this one egg robo, no, he's keeping the operation going.
He just saw how fun it is to fuck with Knuckles and decided to do it again.
Yes.
But yeah, launch base, this is the most obvious of the Jackson ones, really, isn't it? Because, like, the instrumental we're hearing here, this could just be the instrumental to a Michael Jackson song off one of his albums. It's got the exact same sort of beat to it.
Or, you know, something from Moonwalker and so on.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, the Moonwalker arrangements are fantastic, but that's just another really strong use to the Mega Drive sound chip.
Now we get extra speedy Michael.
I don't know if it exists, I haven't seen it, but I imagine there probably has been a mod of this where someone's ported Michael Jackson's sprite in. It would just be too perfect not to exist.
Oh my gosh.
I can tell you now, in all likelihood, yes, that exists somewhere, because there's no way that they wouldn't have done, like, there are so many, like, Sonic mods that replace the characters with everyone under the bloody sun. There is no way that somebody hasn't done Michael Jackson from Moonwalker.
Michael Jackson in Sonic 3 Angel Island Revisited. Yep, it's here. It's on Game Banana.
Of course it is. I'm sure his estate have no hang-ups for that existing whatsoever.
Well, no one's getting paid for that, so they can sit on it, honestly, and spin.
Like, that stops them. Have you seen the sort of evil shit they got up to? If you look at, like, that one album that came out after he died, where they got a fucking impersonator to do vocals and claimed it was him, like, there's some fucked up shit going on with that man's legacy.
You wouldn't think that Sonic history has all these interesting morsels to chew on, but it's there, and some of them are more grisly than others.
Yes, just a bit.
I hope you like this Super Knuckles theme, because you'll be hearing a lot of it.
This is why I hear in my dreams, Flame. It lulls me to the most calming and beautiful sleep you've ever had in your life.
On the plus side, it's not as grating as the version that's in Sonic 3 Vanilla. That was like a 10-second loop, and it was so fucking obnoxious.
I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember, because I usually just play, Sonic 3 and Knuckles complete, as it were.
Well, that's the thing, like, this, obviously nowadays, whenever you play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you're gonna play Sonic 3 and Knuckles. They are so intrinsically linked to the same game.
Yeah.
Remember, if you just bought Sonic 3 Vanilla back in the day, this was like right on the tail end. You'd be nearly done by now. And I feel like that, when they're selling this as pretty sure the same price as something like Sonic 2, it does feel a little bit limp that this is coming near the end. Like, it doesn't feel like a final area, really.
Sonic 2 for me, funnily enough, always felt a little bit too long, but S3 and K feels perfect. Now, I don't know if that just speaks to me, again, being a huge hypocrite, or whatever, or maybe I just have personal taste. Gosh, gasp, etc. But, I forgot what point I was trying to make here. But, yeah, maybe 3 on its own was a little bit too expensive. Wow. How'd you do that without a shield?
I think that's just a Knuckles thing, or it just coincidentally happened, I don't know.
Christ. Anywho, N64 cartridges back in the day were 50 quid a pop, and I remember my poor mum shelling out for many of those. And games nowadays, 50 quid plus, if you're lucky.
Closer to 70, let's be real here.
Depends on the platform.
Nintendo's slowly adopting that. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. This is my pro-Nintendo bias speaking here, but I think Tears of the Kingdom is worth 70. Do I think every Nintendo game is worth that? No.
I just think it's a poor trend, and, like, yeah, they might just be doing it for the bigger games now, but it ain't gonna stay that way, is it?
No indeed.
There's a whole conversation there on value and what is worth what, because ultimately things are worth what you're willing to pay for them.
Yeah.
Whether that is the right thing or not is a different kettle of fish, because in most instances, obviously, companies are making just ridiculous amounts of money, and that money is not necessarily always going to, like, the people who've actually developed the game, or decent amounts of money haven't necessarily been paid to certain members of the company, thinking like obviously actors and the QA testers and all that jazz. So when that is happening, you kind of go, am I actually willing to pay this much for a game when it's not it's going into the pockets of the producers and the distributors and not the people who actually did anything? And that's a whole ethical drama that is just a massive pain to go through and really difficult if you're trying to be an ethical consumer.
I never really thought we were going to have such a discussion in the middle of a Sonic playthrough, but What can I say? Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles arc, if you will, just brings this out in us.
Also, I'm sorry that I'm Super Knuckles here. We don't hear Big Arm's theme.
Oh.
I will say the Generations version is better anyway.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's kind of hard to beat the Cash mix.
Yeah, basically. Even if in-game you hear like 20 seconds of it, because it's the first fucking boss.
Really?
Come on, come up.
Yeah, it's really disrespectful that you got all the Chaos Emeralds before, you know, I could enact my master plan. Oh, I guess I'll leave. I'll go to Sonic and Knuckles.
Well, that's fine. We'll just follow you along there.
It's kind of weird how the story starts in Mushroom Hill and then you start in Angel Island, but, you know, there's been that kind of thing in Sonic games before. Looking at you, heroes.
Yep.
Fly, my red flickers. Fly. Oh. Well, shit. It looks like we're out this bitch.